Okay, we're going to finish up lesson 16 today. Take a quiz and then see how much time there's left for lesson 17 since we did our Dibbles math for the first part of math time today. All right, so look at problem 6. It says find the unknown measurements in the shape below. Then break apart the shape into 2 rectangles to find its area. So do you see the 2 question marks there? Let me make sure this isn't blurry for Noah. It's good. Okay. So we have to find these 2 measurements first before we solve for the area. So looking at this side, and if we look over here, this whole width is 5 meters. It tells us that this part of that width is 3 meters. So 3 plus what equals this 5, everybody?
2.
Okay, so what would we fill in beside that question mark?
2.
It's a 2, right? All right, now we're going to do the same sort of thing to find this measurement there. The whole length of it is 8. Okay, this part is 5. So 5 plus what would give us that whole 8 length? Everybody?
5.
5 plus what equals 8?
3.
3. Now, it says to break apart the shape into 2 rectangles. Are there 2 ways we could break that apart? We could break it apart horizontally, right?
Yeah.
Or we could break it apart vertically. What do you think we should do? Horizontal or vertical? Looks like most people are saying, oh, some of you look like windshield wipers, like you don't know which way you want to go. So you're just swishing it back and forth, trying to figure it out. Let's do vertical. So let's break this apart right there. Now we have 2 rectangles. We have this rectangle. I don't know why I chose black. But we have this one. And then we have this one. Okay, let's solve the black one first. Well, not solve it. Let's figure out what we have to multiply first on this black one. What is the width of it?
3. 5.
The width is 5. Whoops. And so I'm just going to write it inside there. You don't have to. You can write it off to the side. And the length of it is 3, right? Okay, let's look at what we would multiply on this one. Class,
Yes.
are we going to use 8 for this part of the rectangle?
No.
No, because we know that we broke that rectangle, that line apart, right? So what is the length of this rectangle? Do you see the measurement for the length of it, Raylyn? Where do you see 4? I only see a 5, a 3, a 2, a 5, and a 3. I don't see 4. You think the length is 5? Agree or disagree? You should agree, because this right here tells us the length of that. Now, what is the width of that rectangle?
3.
3. So again, 5 times 3. Now what are we going to do with those 2 equations? Do we need to solve them?
Yes.
And then after we solve them, what are we doing with those two areas? Adding them back together. Do that right now. Everybody, what is 5 times 3?
30.
5 times 3.
15.
And what's the other 5 times 3?
15.
Okay, so now we have 15 plus 15. What is 15 plus 15?
30.
All right, so the area is 30 square meters. Okay. Is this the last one? Yep. Okay, number 7 says to draw your own shape made up of at least 2 rectangles. Label the dimensions of your shape. Okay, so let's say I can't draw without a writing utensil. Let's say that I draw a shape I'm going to change that. Like that. All right. You draw a shape. It doesn't have to be like mine. You can draw your own shape. It would probably be best if you did draw your own shape. So you draw your own shape. It needs to be able to split it into at least 2 rectangles.
Can it be more?
It can be more if you choose to do more. But at least be able to split it into 2 rectangles. Hands on your hips when you have your shape drawn. Okay, so if I draw my shape, I'll draw a different one now. Is mine going to be just in 2 rectangles now? No. So I would probably want to split it like that, wouldn't I? Okay. Or I could have, I don't know if I'll be able to erase that. I could have split it that way. So I have that one there. Then I would end up with 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be a lot of work though. All right, so I'll just redraw that middle part. So I have my shape drawn here, not very neatly. How did I do that before? Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Split your shape into the at least 2 rectangles. Do you have that? Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to label the measurements of your shape. So this is my longest one. So I'm going to say this is 9 inches. Find your longest line and label it with your biggest number. Not counting where you put your dividing lines in. Okay, you're just label your longest line. Got it?
Yep.
Okay, now I know that if this side is 9 inches, what is this side of it going to be? 9 inches. But it's broken apart, right? So I would say that this would be halfway. So that's probably about 4 inches here. About how much would that be up there? 2 inches? I'll say this is 2 inches here, pointing to that line. Okay. If this is 2 inches, how long is this? 2 inches. I'm going to say this is this whole line right here. I'm going to say that's 3 inches. And this whole line right here, I will say is 5 inches. Notice what I do here, friends. This is tricky. We haven't done one like this before, especially by ourselves. But if you look, this is kind of this part moved over, right? So 5 plus 4 would equal that 9. Do you see how I figured that out? Okay. Then, do I have some other parts I need to label measurements on?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. If this is 3 inches, what's this going to have to be? What do you think?
It doesn't look like the
Close. Should I say it's 3 inches? It's similar to that. All right. So now when I go to figure out, maybe we should have just done 2. This is tricky. So when I go to solve for each of these rectangles, what would I say for this rectangle? What would my multiplication equation be for this one? Lucas?
9 times 3.
Right, 9 times 3. What about this little squarish one in the middle? Not quite a square. Is it going to be 3 times something?
No.
No, because this is 3 all the way across. See that? This is the 3 inches. So what would this be? I forgot to label one. Let me label one more to help you out. If this part of it is 1 inch, what is this part of it?
2.
It would be 2 inches, wouldn't it? So 2 times 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus what equals 9?
3.
What's this rectangle's equation going to be? 5 times 1. Ooh, I made mine tricky.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what you're going to do, are you confused?
Oh,
No.
No.
You got no. I think I know that.
I want you to label measurements around your shape. I'm going to get rid of mine because I think that seeing my example is different than how you're imagining your example that you drew. Okay, so is this 10 all the way across here? Huh? It needs to be. So pretend like that line isn't there right now. So you're saying that's 10. Okay, then what's this going to be? Do we want to all do the same shape?
No.
No? You got it figured out? So that whole width is 8. Okay. So you're saying 3 plus 3 plus, then what would that be? This part in here would be what? If this is 3, this is 3, what would that be? Because you're saying the whole length is that. All right, how are you doing?
Not good. Good.
Okay, I'm going to partner you up with the ones that have this figured out. You're going to be partnered up with somebody that is a little bit confused, and maybe you can, sometimes hearing a different person help you with things, it starts to make a little more sense than when you're always just hearing it from me. Okay, so if you're pretty confident that you did yours correctly, I need to see a thumbs up. Okay, so I'm going to have, what do we have here today? 7. Okay, I'm going to have you 3 work together. Okay, because you 2 say you got it. You 3 say you've got it. I'm going to put you into a group of 4 to talk things through. Okay? All right, then after you have talked about each of your shapes that you drew, and our friends that are like, Mrs. Loafing confused me, I'm totally not getting this, if they're feeling like they've got it better after you've helped them out a little bit, then you're going to go back to your seat. Okay? Questions? All right, so go ahead and go back, or no, sorry, not go back, go with your group, excuse me.